Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another episode of Coach to Influence presented by Dextago. I am Joe Fontana, your funny, not funny host. Today, I am joined by the amazing Sara Zelijkovic. We're both in black because we're both cat burglars for deals. She is the one stealing your deals from you because she comes to the table with grit, real life experience. She knows what authenticity looks like, and she doesn't play games. Sara, introduce yourself to all three of my followers and my sister, who's probably the only one listening today.
Well, that's gonna be then my mom and dad probably in
There we
addition to
go. It's
that,
just the
right?
Zelijkovic
We're up
family
to
and a
five.
few Fontanas.
Up to five. No, hi everyone. My name is Sarah or Sarah, however you want to pronounce that.
How do
I'm
you want
originally
it pronounced? How do you want it pronounced?
personally, if I'm talking to someone from Balkans, they will say Sara, right? But because I'm in America, hey, I adjusted and adopted, so all good. But yeah, Sarah would be over there, Sarah here, doesn't matter, just say hi. Yeah, I'm originally from Serbia and I moved to San Francisco 7 years ago. I was personal trainer, and that's when you learn to approach people in person. Before that, both my mom and dad were entrepreneurs. And so I got that real life experience when I was helping my dad by selling soaps of goat milk, promoting on social media, doing paid ads on Facebook and Instagram back in like 2015, probably. And I was obviously very young back at that time, but it was all up and coming. And that's where I first got my feet wet. Then eventually I became a personal trainer. So I put myself out there on Instagram, grew my following up to 7K people. And it was a nice way to actually get the leads. I didn't know these terms back then, but it was all just like coming along. And eventually, when I moved here, I was personal trainer. So you got to learn how to approach people, how to sell, how to position yourself in the best way to make that commission because that's what you depend on. So
So you're
that's a
not
little
in
bit about
sales
me.
to make friends, you're in sales to make money?
Well,
Wow.
aren't we
Tell us
all
more.
motivated
No,
by
but you hear
that?
these sellers
I mean, I love
nowadays.
me some designer bags, so I'm just gonna,
You're
work
here for
for
the
it.
money and the design. Listen to me, I'm here for the watches. I like expensive watches. They don't fall from trees. No one has ever given me a watch because I'm a funny guy. So I got to go out there. I got to sell every day.
Right?
And like you, I've been doing it since I'm a baby. And I came from an entrepreneurial family as well.
What did your parents do? I know you're here to interview us, but I gotta ask.
So my father had pizzerias, but he came from nothing. Like he lived on the streets when he first came to the States. So he started out running other people's and then he built his own series of restaurants and, you know, 14, 16, 18-hour days. I remember when I was young going from Brooklyn every morning to Jersey. And because he believed the water was the difference in the pizzas, we would have to fill 50-gallon drums every morning with the water from the hose.
It's actually true for the dough. It does matter,
It's
the
it's
water
the water.
quality.
I mean, I eat like I have three stomachs, so I can talk about pizza all day long. Nobody's here to listen to me talk about pizza, but let's lean into that entrepreneurial background, your personal trainer work. How did that shape how you lead and coach today?
That's probably the biggest component that has led me to be a successful and empathetic leader today. Because when you're a personal trainer, people not only come for body transformation, but they also come to, find comfort in you as a coach. You're there to listen as well. You're there to lean in on, the stories that they're sharing, family things maybe that they have going on. So it's not just about lifting heavy weights and seeing the body changes. It's also like when they leave, how they feel. Are they motivated to come back? And so nowadays that I am a leader, I lead different types of personalities on one team, having the same mission to, produce the revenue. It's very important that I understand them as an individual, who they are, what's their background, what's their why, what motivates them to be here. And probably, as we know, if you were a leader for some time and you're listening, when you start to have one why, as you go and as you get to learn the company, the mission, and what you're doing, your why probably changes. And
Every
so
seller
it's
throughout the life of your career, if your why doesn't change, then
yeah. And so that's how it all really impacted or shaped me as a human. I don't know without that I don't know if I would be as empathetic and I would have so much sympathy for certain things in life or whatever comes up, and this way I get to understand people a lot more on a personal level.
well, I would think as a personal trainer, you're there to build confidence and belief in themselves. So they start off believing in you, and by your work, you teach them to believe in themselves. I mean, and that's so easily transferable as a sales leader because the
Yeah,
great
they
ones
get
are
life
there to build that
evidences.
confidence.
Yeah, they get that life evidence. Just like as you go to the gym and after a month, you see that something on your body has changed, right? Not just like your mindset and, you feeling good, but you also see that there is a life evidence that by doing this work, now you have 2 pounds less, right? With sales, because you make those dials, because you're learning how to do layer questions or active listening, now you get to make that commission. And so I think by seeing those like life evidences, we get to build that confidence.
Can we talk what that actually looks like for an SDR or a seller? Because everybody talks about building confidence, but let's talk about what it actually looks like.
That's an interesting one because I feel it differs from person to person. I always love to add a context, but I will just say for me, I had to do a homework. So it's not just showing up and okay, you're given the script and now you go and just read it on the call. To me, I had to do a homework. I had to practice with my roommate. I had to just like put in the hours after work in order to build that confidence, and also doing role plays with managers. I know a lot of reps shy to go to their managers for role plays side by side. And that's actually where the key is. Your manager is there for a reason. They did the job that you're doing right now, and so use that resource. First, it's free, right? You're being paid for that technically, but also they're there to help you build your own confidence. And again, for me, it was all about the practice and having peers who also believe in you, who will tell you, hey, you did a great job here on this call, or this is what you need to improve, but overall, 9 out of 10. And that's what helped me build my confidence.
Yeah, it's just that repetition of people that you respect telling you back that they respect you. And
Another thing for me, which is unique in my case, English is my second language. There are words that I didn't know how to pronounce, like concierge, believe it or not. 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, concierge. I had to like write it down in Serbian how I would pronounce that in order to be able to have an actual conversation. But I always try to embody the best version of myself. Would the best version of me be shy to do this? No. She would actually lean in to those parts or areas that I need to improve. And that's actually what helped me. Now it's a funny story, right? Now I'm like, concierge, come on, I can even write that in English now. But a couple of years ago, I was like, oh shoot, how do I say this? How do I, pronounce this? But again, it's all about the repetition and the homework.
I mean, a good sales manager is the embodiment of both of those things because they put in the time, they put in the effort. They're obviously in the role result of it. The great managers know how to pass that along to the next generation. And just to digress for a minute, don't be ashamed or embarrassed of not knowing how to say words in English. English is my first language, and I still can't say the word familiarity.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
can't. It dies on my tongue. It dies on my tongue. It explodes in my mouth, and I can't get the word out. If I can't even repeat it, just I'm so silly with it.
We can definitely make a list of those. That's for another time.
So we talk about what the preparation you took to go from great seller to sales leader. What would you say are the best practices that a sales leader needs to have that are separate from being good at sales? Because most sales leaders get that role because they were good at the job but there's no investment made put into actually leading a sales team.
That's something that I was also thinking, like how do we make great sales leaders? Because as soon as you step into leadership, I feel like that's where resources stop. Not saying that that's true for everyone, but unless you invest in a coach, that was breakthrough for me. I invested in a coach and his name is Louis. And he also was there for me when I was account executive
Wait,
as well.
what's Lewis's last name? Let's call out the coach. The coach
He's
of Sara Zelijkovic has got to be an impressive cat. We got to call him out.
Yes. So his name is Luis Melendez, and he is somebody who really believes in me. He saw the potential when I obviously hired him, and he helped me just enhance my talk track, enhance the way I do the work as account executive. And then later on, as I became a sales leader, I still kept him as my coach. And that really helped me improve the way I approach work. It's not obviously just about numbers and account penetration and touches per account and conversions, following the cadences and making sure that your team is following those steps, but it's also about the way you have conversations. So he's literally a coach that helps you communicate your ideas better. Or whatever it is that you want to communicate, he helps you communicate it better. And that's, I'd say, another key for success, having him as my advisor, as my coach, to really shape me as a leader.
No, that's a great piece of advice because I mean, I've sold for 30 plus years. I still have somebody that I turn to with my questions. And I've been on sabbatical for about 2 months now. So trust me, I've had thousands of questions because when you have nothing but time on your hands, you're rewinding a lot of things. You're looking at the way that you led or the way
Yeah.
that you closed. And the value of a good coach there is priceless.
Absolutely. No, he is somebody that definitely deserves a shout out because I wouldn't be here probably as a sales leader today if it wasn't for him and his coaching. Actually, he got the best out of me, right? He saw what I have and then he helped me shape that and be the best version of myself today.
And that's what you're doing for a team. So that's really at the end of the day, that is the core of what makes a great sales leader is they can tap into the known and the unknown, the potential you have, as well as the undiscovered country.
Absolutely. I think again, it's all about that homework. It's not just like, okay, what do you do for that hour with your coach? But how are you going to apply that feedback in your day-to-day life? Because we expect a lot from our, whether that's an SDR or account executive, or even if you're a second, line manager from your managers, it's not just like what we expect from them, but it's how do we embody and apply the feedback that we received so that we can improve? And who's going to keep us accountable? So I think for those reasons, we also need coaches so that they can keep us accountable, just like we keep our team accountable on daily or a weekly basis.
Okay. So sales rep that's become a sales manager needs to invest in a coach. That's rule number one. Not promoting anything here, but if you
No, no,
are an up and
absolutely
coming
not.
seller and you want to be a sales manager, I chat with those up and coming sellers all the time to help prepare you because you can be the biggest impact. You will be the biggest impact in your sellers' careers, whether it's for good or for bad is up to you because knowing sales is just the standard. That's the bar. If you're going to be a good sales manager, you obviously have to know sales, but it's so much more than that. So outside of getting a good coach, somebody that you can trust and build with, what would you also say to a newly minted sales leader as something they need to focus on? If you had to give
That
advice to a seller today that just got promoted and is smart enough to listen to you and has the coach ready to go, what else would you say they need to focus on?
I like to split um the way I think, I guess, into buckets, art and science. So art is how we communicate, right? Science is the numbers. So if you're a new coach, Yes, work on your skills, how you will communicate with the team, how you will run team trainings, that the way you're going to lead your team and coach them. But how are you going to find the gaps in performance of your team? So I think leaning into data and the dashboard readouts, the number readouts, it's another crucial component that I wish I knew a little bit more when I first started.
Yeah, you and me both. No one ever wants to tell you the details that you need to do. They're just go out and make them close like you can close.
And to your point, you said like you're there to help like new leaders become better version of themselves. And it is very important that you have that coach. And it depends on organization and how big they are and what they have going on. Obviously, our managers have a lot on their plate as well. So like there's nobody to blame, but then it is our responsibility that we can talk to someone like yourself, Joe, to hire them and be like, help me so that I can double the amount that I'm earning also. It also comes down to that. Like we're sales leaders, we lead a team that depends on commission. We also depend on that commission. So when you invest in yourself, whether that's $100 or $1,000, you, however people are charging nowadays, you will make double or not 3-4 times the amount you invested in that coach.
If you invest in your own education with the focus on how I can pass this along to my team, then that's money well spent all the time. That will pay for itself exponentially, almost immediately. There's so many things I want to ask.
I know we really unpack this now.
So we talk about a lot of the things that we need to do as leaders. You had mentioned this to me once when we spoke. We didn't really dig into it here, but I'd love to. The best leaders today are brutally honest and brutally transparent. And I'd love your take on how you're handling tough performance conversations that, when done wrong, will damage trust and, just as importantly, shred their confidence.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I will say, you ask me, what should new leaders be aware of? Actually, that's one of the things they should be aware of, having hard conversation. And caveat there could be is that this person was your peer just a month ago, and now you became a leader and you're leading this person. And now you have to shift your approach where you're no longer a peer. The things are not funny. You have to make sure that they're performing for the sake of their own commission and the revenue we're going to make for the company so we all have jobs. And the way I approach that is, say, for example, we identified gaps, right? We know what the numbers are. We know what we need to attack. And now we do reverse engineering. What does need to happen in order for us on a daily basis? What does need to happen in order for us to get to X? Now I let this person, go with the plan Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I see that they're not really putting on the KPIs, or maybe they are, but the connections are not there. And most likely my next conversation with them will be, hey, Joe, we're both seeing the same numbers. What are your thoughts on this? I want to understand how your day has been, right? I want to first understand what's happening in your life so that I can then approach and
I
I will
have shitty
prepare.
leads, Sarah. That's all it is. The leads are shit. It's not my
Okay,
fault. The leads are
yeah, that
garbage.
that that can be one of the complaints, right? But it's very important that we go back to first your why, and then now I would ask you, is this a will thing or a skill thing? Because if it's a skill thing, if it's a skill gap, I will help you with that. But if it's a will thing, then we have to talk about it and see if this is the right role for you. Nobody likes those conversations, and I would acknowledge that. What my team loves about me is my transparency, the directness. I'll be like, hey, Joe, I know this is not a conversation that we both want to
Listen, they
have,
don't
but
they respect you for it. Trust me, nobody
absolutely.
likes the fact that anybody is absolutely visceral and raw, but a good seller. I was having a conversation with a young seller today, great seller, just never had that manager that made the investment in them because the manager didn't even know that an investment was required in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgot where I was going with this, but it's
But no, no, it's very important that we first outline that this conversation is not something we want to have, but it has to happen. So when we lead with why something needs to happen, whether that's the conversation or us digging into numbers or the disagreement we may have, they may not like you in the moment, but to your point, they will respect you. And funny enough, yesterday, I had a conversations with one of my former SDRs. She was crushing in her role, but there was just period of time when we needed to have a conversation. And she called me yesterday. She was like, Sarah, you know, you're a tough manager, but I respect you so much because you got the best out of me. I'm like, oh, stop. Girl, I thought I was babying you. But anyways, just all that to say is that we need to have those hard conversations. I call that tough love. Because as an SDR, I want you to be with me for a year, year and a
that's not
half.
tough love. That's not tough love. That's real love. Because when you really love something or somebody or the effort or the money, you're going to make the investment to make sure that they know what good looks like, what wrong looks like. You could be awesome today, but you fumbled right here. Here's why. Own it. Like you said, will or skill.
Yeah. So it's very
Because
important that they understand it. And I'm sure, and actually, I've seen it. I got the real life evidence, which really encouraged me to continue to be manager like that, is that they would come back and be like, thank you for that. Because I've learned how to create a dashboard or a report or whatnot, now I can actually do my own numbers and reverse engineering. Sometimes managers are not going to be there. There will be organizational shift. If I teach you this today, you will be set for life.
exactly. If they have the will to succeed, because you can't coach for will. You can only motivate them to the discipline, motivate them to, or inspire them to self motivate themselves.
Yes,
Because everybody talks about, I'm not motivated, my boss doesn't inspire me. Their job's not to inspire or motivate you. Their job is to give you the tools to be successful. You need to go out and motivate yourself.
absolutely. I feel like those conversations need to happen very early on, as either you inherit a team or you hire somebody new. I think they
I
that
hire them, you're having that conversation in the interview process. If I inherit you, it's the first talk we're having
exactly.
because I know you do this because we've spoken and we're friendly. You make investments in these people because you know they are an investment. If I put $1,000 into IBM, IBM is going to pay me $50 back. If I put 100 hours into Julie, Julie's going to pay me with X amount in revenue. So there needs to be that covenant at the beginning. Here's the investment I'm going to make in you as my report. In order to remain my report in a good way, here's the investment I'm looking back. When it's new teams, I used to have the trick of everybody's getting a nickname because you're not worthy of me remembering your name right now. I know it. I interviewed you. I'm a human being. But in my brain, I can compartmentalize forgetting all of that
Yeah.
because your interviews don't mean shit to me. That was you convincing me. I have been convinced. Now you have to come in and do the work. And until you do the work and you make the investment, because when you're making the investment, you show up in my radar, you show up in reports, you show up in conversations, you show up on one on ones. That's how I remember your name. So until then, White Claw, get back to work.
Love that.
But they know early, I'm going to make an investment in you. Here are 2,500 other SDRs and AEs that I made an investment in. Go
Uh-huh.
talk to them when they're done getting out of their Ferrari. When they're done getting off their boat in Lake Como, give them a call and tell them, how did you like working with Joe Fontana? I hated it. But every year on my birthday, I send him $100 to thank him for never giving up on me.
I love that. I didn't know about this story.
Serious stuff.
No,
Let's
no,
have
wait,
some
wait
fun
a
now.
second. I love this story, and I love how passionate you are about that because as leaders, we really don't get to brag about these moments, and they are so important because they're our life
This is how
evidences.
real leaders talk about their teams. It's with
Yeah.
passion because you put time into it. You invested. You sweated. It's 3 o'clock. Why the F is this kid calling me? What do you mean you're not coming in tomorrow? What do you mean you can't do this anymore? People forget that when you're a leader, nobody works for you. You work for them. You
Facts.
work for them. It's your job to improve them. They are your clients. It's not the other way around. Yeah, they could be ATM machines and they could be the reason you have a great watch or beautiful cardigans and turtlenecks in the case of Zara and I, where no expense was spared. But there comes an investment that needs to be made. And telling a guy just do what I do or do it the way I did it is not the way to get done. I can't wait to have your job. But now, as we're talking about sales, let's have a little fun. I'm curious, what is the one buzzword you're hearing today that you wish would disappear?
Circle back. Let's not circle. Let's not circle back and follow up. What we can do instead? Send me a meme. Send me a GIF. I don't know. Do something different. Just don't say those two words. Or say
Circle
like, I'm
back.
bumping this up, right? Or
I'm
hey,
bumping this up. I need to put this front and center in your inbox.
or like bumping up is not that bad though. I don't mind that because you are technically you're doing that, right? You just want your message to be seen, but
I
you're
used to
not
do this.
following
Hey,
up.
buddy, my mom said I'm not a very good salesperson. Can you help me walk her through why that's wrong?
You see, I
My
love
mom
that.
says I don't know how to develop relationships. Can you help correct here?
It's very original,
You
authentic,
need to
right?
be different, especially today. You need to be different.
Yeah.
Circling back, following up. Here's what I used to do when somebody didn't answer me a few times. Knock, knock. That's it. That's
Well,
the email.
that's when
Knock,
you were
knock.
going in person, right? Or just like you
No,
would
like
type it
that would
in.
be
Knock
my
knock.
email. So I send you an email. Hey, let's circle back. I'll talk, blah, blah, blah. You know, you just got blown off. Your messages aren't getting responded to. It'd be a simple note. Knock, knock, hyphen, knock. And you'd be surprised that that's what happens. Love it, man. I have them blowing. Then you get the answer that you're looking.
I'm like this
But
generation of
here's
like
the thing, if
memes.
you know how to manage your relationship as a seller, that word circle back will never have to come in because they know when they're going to hear from you. They know why they're going to hear from you. Okay, there's no urgency today. Prospect, I am now going to become annoyingly persistent. Expect to see the following things in your inbox on a monthly basis. Expect to see the following posts that I'm going to share with you. If I have a dinner or an event that I think you're going to be a fit for, I'm going to ping you. In
Yeah, same.
exchange, when the following things you said are going to happen so that I can circle back, this is the agreement. Are you willing to do that? Does that work? No, because you're a piker and you don't know how to say no to me. Yes, now we know what the next 6 months look like and the work that needs to be done. Now I have
Absolutely.
all the time in the world. Marketing, here's the problems that this guy said he had. This is the issue his CEO said he had. Can we put something together for a couple of high profile people just so that we can keep the water warm for the bath I'd like them to jump into 6 months from now? Circle back. Here's what I tell reps who tell
Get
me
that drama.
circle back. Circle back with your prospect and find out why you don't know what you're doing. Find out why you can't move this forward. Because, and somebody said this was boiler room of me. I don't think so. But sales is still a conversation where one person gets convinced. You have either convinced your prospect that this is of value, and you have convinced them with your facts and your data and your personalization and the fact that you know what you're talking about, or you can't.
Yeah, you're staying relevant and interesting.
Okay. I know I told you this earlier, but we still need to do it. Let's do the song one first. Because
Okay.
for people that watch this podcast, I ask everybody the same question. No, you're getting ready for a sales call. You're getting ready for a meeting with a horrible seller. What is your go-to pump-up song?
I would always listen to Sia Unstoppable. Yeah, that's just like what gets me every time. That I'm unstoppable, I'm Porsche with no brakes.
Nice.
I'm not saying I love Porsche. I love good Ford truck. Not that I own one. I just think it looks good. But the song is really good, and it gets me every time.
That is a great song. Very good. Okay. So if someone who would play you in a movie or about your sales career?
It's a
Now, I
good
always have an answer
one.
because I think these things through. In my brain, I see a young Catherine Zeta-Jones playing you in the movie of your sales career. I know, very good answer. I did my
Yeah.
research, but please tell my audience what your answer was.
Yeah. So that's actually a great one. I love that.
I know this. Do my
But what
homework.
I will say is just like Sylvester Stallone, I'm the star of my own movie. I, you know, it's not from the ego, it's just being authentic, right? There's no other person like Joe. There's no other person like Sarah. Yes, we can have similar minds and we can think similarly, but the personalities are, I guess, unique, you know? And so I would I would be the star of that
No one
movie.
can
Why
play
not?
Zara. She can only play herself. That's why she's the eye of the tiger and the reigning champ of how to do things right. Zara, I
Love
can't
that.
thank you enough for taking the time today. It's been a blast. It's been a laugh. I can't, you're dropping some real knowledge for sellers and sales leaders. Invest in a coach. That coach will invest back in you. If you can't find one, make the relationship happen with your sales manager. And if one's not there, be patient. A bad sales manager exposes themselves fairly quickly, and in this market will get replaced just as fast. Zara, thank you again. This was a super blast, but the Sylvester Stallone of sales movies. Can't thank you
Thank you
enough.
so much. Yes, likewise. Thank
Pleasure
you.
was all mine. Thank you.